What's up, everybody? Welcome to Human Innovation Tarot. My name is Eddie with Imagine Life Development Center. And today I'm just going to be taking a look to see what the divine wants you guys to know right now. So this reading isn't really specific to anything. It's just channeled messages. I just felt like the divine had some things that it maybe wanted to say. So we're going to see what comes out. If you're new to the channel, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would like, share, and subscribe. All the other information you need to know is in the description box below. If you'd like to book a personal or private reading, that information is there as well. And your sign doesn't matter. So this is just a collective reading, and we're just going to jump in and see what comes out. And while we get the cards on the table here, one thing that I want to share, I shared this past, I guess it was this past Friday or this past weekend when I went live. Keep in mind, for those of you who weren't on the live reading, pay attention to the things going on in your guys' life right now. We are, almost we're almost halfway into April now, and so we're a little more than a quarter of way into 2025. So this year is a universal year 9, and it's a very intense universal year 9. And 9s are all about closing out chapters, endings, clearing the deck, releasing things that are no longer serving us, and all that kind of stuff. But this year specifically is a very transformational universal year 9. It's the first one within the new cycle of Pluto entering in Aquarius. There's all kinds of astrological stuff that has already occurred, just starting out at the beginning of the year. For those of you who are keep up with all the astrology stuff, you guys know what that stuff is. I'm not gonna get into it all here, because there's a lot of other channels, a lot of other readers out there who will do a lot better job at explaining that than I will. However, I will remind those of you who are new to the channel to go into my playlist and watch the video called The Universal Year 9 Part 1 and Part 2. There's 2 videos that I posted back in January. They shouldn't be hard to find in my video feed. And those 2 videos are still going to be the most important videos that I upload until probably about June or July, because they explain everything you guys need to know about what this year is really all about, how it's going to affect you, potentially affect you, and it's going to be major. All right. And so if you haven't had a major experience, and I'm not saying this to sound all doom and gloom or to scare you or anything, and major things don't always have to come in extreme situations or circumstances, right? But even if you just look at the things going on in the world up to this point, there's been a lot of extreme things. And I know you can say, well, Eddie, that kind of happens every year. It's like, well, yes, but again, we're just easing into the year. Like, we're not even halfway through yet. We have the whole rest of the year to go. So when I say extreme, I don't mean that it has to be what most people might think of as like a cataclysmic type thing, right? Like, it doesn't have to necessarily be that you just randomly wake up and you lost your job. You go to work and for some reason your job went out of business, or they just fired you out of nowhere, or you get into some kind of crazy car wreck, or you get severely ill, or just whatever the thing is. It doesn't always have to be something in the external world that just comes in and just completely blows your whole life to bits from that regard. It can be extreme in just the sense of something that triggers an internal response in you. It could be extreme in that maybe you just kind of wake up feeling like you're having a midlife crisis. Maybe you just wake up one day and you just feel really, really sad or really depressed or really lonely, or something's just really missing in your life. Or maybe, you have some really old wounds or traumas or things in your life that have been suppressed for a really long time, and just out of nowhere, for no apparent reason, nothing really occurring to trigger it or anything like that, it just all of a sudden just starts coming out. Now, I'm not going to say that major events can't occur in your life. They certainly can, but the point is, the purpose of the energy of this year is basically kind of like drawing a line in the sand, where we're being kind of forced to look at things that we have been comfortable with for potentially our whole lives, things that we have just kind of left alone, or things that things that we've ignored. We haven't addressed these things, patterns, traumas, fears or concerns, or maybe even just not, settle, or it could just be settling in life, not going for the things in life that we know deep down inside are holding us back, or limiting our growth, limiting our potential, limiting our fulfillment, limiting the meaning and purpose of life for us, right? It could be the way that we've shown up in relationships, anything. So, with that all in mind, what you might start to realize, or what you might start seeing, and what you would want to be paying attention to, are things in your life, little signs. It could be big or small. Any type of indicator, or any type of synchronicity, any type of just reoccurring theme that just starts to show up in your life, especially now. And you'll know what it is, because it'll just be like, man, all of a sudden there's kind of this issue, or there's this problem. There's this thing that just keeps showing up again and again, and it may show up in different forms, but it'll be about the same thing. So if it's a relationship type of thing, then you'll know it's relationships, because it'll just keep showing up in your relationships. Doesn't matter if it's with one person or different people, but it'll be a recurring theme. If it's something to do with money, your job, your health, whatever's not working, whatever's been holding you back, the major thing, and this is, again, that's the key word. It's a major thing, not little, like, okay, I was doing really good with maybe, your health or habits or things like that, eating right, exercising. Maybe you kind of fell off the boat for a minute, you took a month off or something. Like, oh man, I got to get back in the gym. I got to start eating right again, or, whatever the thing is. I'm not talking about little things like that. I'm talking about, this is a major thing in your life that's just been there, but it's not been dealt with. And this year is going to force all of us to kind of deal with a major something, right? And that's really what this is about. And so what the divine is going to start doing is revealing what that thing is, shining light onto the area in our life where whatever that thing is. Again, it could be a fear, it could be an insecurity, it could be, our self-worth, it could be an addiction, it could be, a lack of motivation, it could be some form of procrastination. It could just be, staying in our comfort zone, not taking risks. But you'll know what it is, because you'll start seeing glimpses and indicators showing up again and again. And if you're missing them, then the divine is just going to make it louder and louder and louder and louder and louder until you're like, okay, I think I get it now. So just keep that in mind as we continue to move through April. It's going to start ramping up between now and like June or July. And then I think, for those who recognize what those things are, and you choose with your free will, you choose to start working on those things without the divine needing to get involved, so to speak, meaning you're going to take responsibility for that thing in your life and go, okay, I know what the thing is that's holding me back. I'm going to just start working on it, right? And it's not about perfection. It's about progress. Like, hey, I realize it. I see this thing. I need to change it. And you start doing the work to change it. Then the rest of this year could be transformational for you, because the divine is going to come in and assist you, right? A mustard seed of faith, and meaning the teeniest, tiniest little bit of effort that you put forward towards making that change, the divine is going to assist you tenfold. So every time you step forward to make a change in regard to this area of your life, the divine is going to 10x your effort, your time, your energy, and effort towards it, because the divine wants all of us, wants humanity, wants the collective to evolve and to grow past these major hurdles, obstacles, and challenges that we've been dealing with our entire lives, so we can kind of break the old ceiling that we've all been under for the last, however many years as a society, as a generation, right? And like really kind of breaking through the old paradigms, the old systems, all of it. All that stuff needs to break down and go away. And it's going to, whether we want to or not, right? It's kind of like, we can see all these other things occurring on the horizon when it comes to AI and technology and politics and religion and spirituality. Like, we can see the writing on the wall in the external world, but it needs to start changing in our internal world more so than it does the external world. Because the problem that occurs is when the external world outgrows or outpaces our internal world, then humanity suffers, because, unfortunately, human beings were creatures of habit, and most people don't like change. Our nervous system, our ego doesn't like change. It likes things to be the same. And that's not for everybody, but for most people. And so every however many decades, however many generations, we are pushed collectively into something new, whether we want to or not. It's a growing pain. We're forced to grow whether we like it or not, right? It's kind of like if you've ever been at a job and they came in, maybe the job gets bought out, or there's new management comes in, and it's like, hey, I was comfortable with the way things were before. You were used to the work environment. You had your routines. Everybody was just kind of doing their thing. You were on autopilot. You just went to work. You did your thing. And then somebody, new boss or whatever happens, new management, or your job gets bought out. And then they come in and they start changing everything. And now the way that you used to do things and the rules and all the things start changing. And you're like, man, well, this sucks. But, it's kind of like, well, I don't really have a choice, right? Like, I can leave, go find a new job, or I'm going to have to suck it up. And I'm just going to have to put up with the changes that are kind of forced upon me. Well, in a sense, that's what's happening to us. We're being forced, whether we like it or not, to embrace the changes that are kind of coming down the pipeline in a divine or spiritual sense, or a collective sense, rather. And so if we don't level up our internal world to match the changes that are going to be happening in the external world, there's going to be a huge imbalance. Excuse me. So what the divine is wanting us to do is to prepare us for the changes that are coming, so that we can be in alignment with it, and so that we can actually benefit from it, so that we can grow, we can evolve, and we can actually experience fulfillment. So it's not like we're just being forced into some new world that's going to suck. That's never what it's about. It's about us actually getting prepared to go into changes that bring new opportunities and new levels of fulfillment for those of us that have the spiritual awareness to see that that's what's happening. But as long as we're stuck in the past and we're stuck in the old paradigm, we're not going to see it. We're just going to resist the changes that are occurring, and unfortunately, that's going to cause us to have to go through a lot of unnecessary growing pains. So just keep your eyes on what's happening in your life, and as things begin to be pointed out to you, if there's an area or maybe two areas that you continue to have this major thing and it's being pointed out to you again and again and again, that's probably the area that the divine is highlighting, saying, okay, this is really the number one area where you're being stuck, where you're being held back. And this is the thing that needs to change this year in order for you to move forward, so that by 2026, we're all starting in a universal 1 year, a whole new year, a whole new nine-year cycle, basically. Okay. So that's the first thing coming out of the gate. All right. So let's get into the cards here. And I've just, like I said, I've just got a bunch of random, whatever I feel guided to, whatever decks I feel guided to grab, that's what we're going to go with. So here we have a win-win outcome is forecast. So for those of you who, and I'm going to check to see, as we get into this, we'll know more clearly what these things are about. But for some of you who have been struggling in, again, finances, job, fulfillment, relationships, you have a win-win. But again, this is all based upon your effort and your free will and the action that you take. So just to be crystal clear here, this, the readings that I do are not like most tarot readers. I'm not just going to come out here and tell you, okay, yeah, you're going to have unicorns, fairies, and rainbows because look what the cards say. The cards say blessings. The cards say you're going to get this. The cards say you're going to get that. That's not how it works. What these cards are reflecting are energetic opportunities that we have to align with in terms of our free will decisions. In other words, if there's an opportunity, an energetic opportunity available for a win-win, it doesn't guarantee that we're going to get the win-win. It means that we have to initiate the cause and effect to get the win-win. Meaning, hey, if I want the win-win energy that this card is talking about that is going to be available, I have to align myself with that energy. That's what free will is. Free will is our ability to consciously choose what, where we want to go and what we want to do, or what we want to be aware of in life. That's what free will is. It's a choice we have. And, maybe you've heard me say this on the channel before, but the divine only has two non-negotiables with all of us. The divine will not violate our free will, and the divine will not give us anything that's not in our highest good. Right? That doesn't mean that we can't use our free will to have other things that aren't in our highest good. We can do whatever we want. That's free will. But just as a side note, a disclaimer, anything that's on this table that comes out is something that we have to align our energy and our free will to in order to lay hold of it, in order to benefit from it. So if you just watch this reading passively and you do nothing, then nothing is going to change. Nothing changes until we change it. But if you align yourself to it and you're like, okay, I want the win-win outcome. I want whatever comes out here, or I don't want whatever comes out. If there's a warning or whatever, whatever comes out in this reading, it's a free will choice. Okay. So don't think, just to be crystal clear again, don't think that just because I'm pulling cards on the table and those cards predict something, don't just assume that it's going to happen. And this is one of the number one reasons why people end up out here on YouTube land, binge watching, obsessively watching tarot readings, and not really much changes in their life. And I talk about that in a video on my channel. If you want to watch it, it's called Tarot Lies. So if you can go watch that, and I explain why that happens. And in my opinion, that's you're just wasting your life. You're wasting your time. Like why come out here and just keep binge watching tarot readings endlessly if nothing's changing in your life, right? Like I don't understand that logic. Like it's different if you're aligning yourself to the energy, like, hey, I want that reading. I want my life to change. I want love. I want fulfillment. I want happiness. Then align yourself to it by understanding that our free will is what's going to dictate whether or not that comes true. So we have to participate, is what I'm saying, in every part of life, and as we participate with these things, that's the beauty of a reading. A reading basically forecasts an opportunity for something for us to align with and to participate in getting it. And that's how the divine knows we're serious about it. It's like, oh man, this this is what I need. This is what I want. This is resonating with me. And when something resonates, by the way, that whole concept of, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If this reading resonates for you, well, what does that mean? When something resonates with you, that's the divine part of you saying, hey, this can be yours. Hey, this is, this is something that might be applicable to your life, right? But it doesn't stop there. Just because a reading is resonating with circumstances that are currently happening in your life, that's not where it ends. It should never end at, okay, well, this reading resonates for me. Wow, okay. Like, okay, yeah, but what else? Because it's not about what's resonating now, it's about what's going to happen after. If you're in a situation, right, with a relationship, for example, and you're watching a tarot reading about love or romance, I'm just using something common, a common example. And like, wow, this really sounds like, my reading. This really resonates. I've gone through this. It sounds like me. Like, great. But now what? What's next? What's the next thing? And that's what's more important. It's not whether a reading is giving you specific details about your life and your specific situation. Sure, maybe that's part of it. So okay, maybe I need to listen to this, maybe I don't. But what's more important than that is the result beyond your current circumstances. That's what's more important, right? Because so what? So what if I can tell you what's going on in your life? How is that helpful? You already know what's going on in your life. Who cares if I can predict and tell you, hey, this is happening in your life. Hey, this person did this to you. Hey, this thing, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, wow, that really resonates. Wow, you were spot on. You were really accurate. Who cares? Who cares if I was accurate? You already knew that stuff was going on in your life. It's not about being accurate. It's about, okay, what's next? What's going to happen? And so what's important is us to take power and control of our lives, to be the magician, so that we can, we can create the reality that we desire after that, right? What's next? What goes beyond the accurate reading? Do you want that person? Again, just using relationships as an example. Do you want that person back in your life? Do you not want that person back in your life? Do you want a new love, or do you want a past love? Okay, depending on your answer, well, what are you going to do with your power as the magician to align yourself and to participate in the outcome of that reality occurring, right? Like, if you want that outcome, what are you doing to align yourself to that outcome? Not just, being a passive observer, just going, oh, wow, it's a really cool reading. And then you go back and you just start living your life the same way you did before, because then nothing's going to change. And then you're just going to come back out here and you're going to listen to another reading wondering, well, when's something going to change? When is the X going to come back? When is the new love going to come in? Well, whenever you align whenever you do something, you participate and you align to the thing that you want to do by using your will to make a change. Nothing changes until it changes, right? So I just wanted to be clear on that, because, I want people to experience change. I don't want to just be out here recording useless videos that people on YouTube land watch. Like, wow, that was really nice, Eddie. It's like, okay, well, but I'm wasting my time. If you guys, if it's not something that you can grab hold of and go do, take an actionable step towards or do something with, then what's the purpose of this? I'm just giving you useless information and maybe entertaining you at best. And I'm not a great entertainer, so I doubt that that's even happening. So don't let these messages just be useless, idle information that just passes your ears, whether it resonates or not. Take the things that do resonate inside of you, but don't leave it there. Don't leave it at just, oh, this resonates, it didn't resonate. Actually take that and go do something with it, right? Like, it's like, if I give you a seed, go plant it, go water it, go nurture it, make sure that it grows, make sure that you get a return on the investment of coming out here and take it serious. And if you take these messages seriously and you go do something with it and apply it, it can absolutely be transformational. So I hope that makes sense. So the first card is, we have a win-win outcome is forecast. Now, for some of you, a new romantic cycle begins. Now, we did just have Venus go direct. It was retrograde. Mercury, I believe, is now also out of retrograde. So Mercury should be direct now. Venus should be direct now. That makes sense. Now, for some of you, don't let pride get in your way. Now, I can tell you right off the bat that with this has a lot to do with those cases where perhaps you're dealing with the past person, right? And there's always going to be an opportunity for all of us when it comes to love that somebody from your past reaches out to you. It's always possible. Okay? Now, maybe you want that, maybe you don't. And that's okay. You have free will. You get to choose if you want it or if you don't want it. But here's the test, guys. Here's the test. Let's say you have a past person that might reach out to you and you don't see it coming. Who knows? It's not even really about whether you want that person to reach out to you or not, as much as it is the way who you are in handling yourself. That's what matters more. That's the greater test. The greater test is, who are you in that situation? Are you angry? Are you bitter? Are you resentful? Are you like, hey, go F yourself? Are you like, do you fall into the category of everybody else in the world who has the same shitty attitude when it comes to that? You're just going along with what everybody else in the world does. It's like, just because everybody else says you have to treat your ex a certain way and you have to behave a certain way, you have to respond a certain way, and you buy into all the matrix lies and bullshit in the programming that's like, well, your ex is an ex for a reason, and da-da-da-da-da. It's like, there's only human beings on the planet. There's no such thing as your ex. There's just humans. And guess what? All humans have problems. And guess what? All humans aren't perfect. Or as the good book says, we have all fallen. We have all sinned and fallen short, right? He or she who has no sin cast the first stone. Listen, we all have problems. We've all been the hero in somebody's story. And we've all been the villain in somebody else's story. Somebody has hurt us and we have hurt somebody else. And so it's convenient, though, when we're the hurt person and somebody else comes back who hurt us, and then we have this sense of justice, like, well, I have to treat them like shit because they hurt me. And I don't agree with that. I think two wrongs don't make a right. And I think we as spiritual beings have a higher call and purpose on our life to be better than that. Now, what I'm not saying is that you have to let somebody from your past back into your life. You don't have to accept, communication from them. You're allowed to have boundaries. You're 100% allowed to have boundaries. You don't have to just let somebody come back in because they reached out to you. You don't have to hear them out. You don't have to do anything. You have free will. But you also don't have to hold on to anger and bitterness and resentment or ego or, I'm better than you and you're lower than me and you're a piece of crap. It's like, no, there's just hurt people who hurt other people. It's that simple. If someone hurt you, they either did it unintentionally, they didn't mean to, or they did it intentionally and maybe they did mean to, right? But either way, there's just hurt people who end up hurting other people. And so, if we're not careful, then we become the hurt person that's going to hurt somebody else. If somebody hurts you, you become angry, you become bitter, and then you decide, I've had enough of getting hurt. So then when people come towards you, you start to be the person who's like hurting other people. Because the person who hurt you, I guarantee you at one point in their life, they didn't want to be hurt either. Just like you didn't want to be hurt. And something hurt them. And because they got hurt and they didn't deal with the anger because they allowed their pride to get the best of them, what did they do? They became the person that hurt you. And if you're not careful, you're going to get infected with the same pain and the same hurt, and pride's going to get you. And then you're going to go out and you're going to hurt somebody. And that's how the cycle continues on. This is why hurt people hurt people. This is also why healed people heal other people. So let's be that person. Let's be the healed person that heals people, heals other people, okay? And I'm going to also say that for those of you that are looking for new love, you desire new love, then if you want new love, you're going to have to set your pride aside, because the pride is devil energy, the ego. So if you want this new romantic opportunity, and a win-win outcome is forecast. So basically these three cards, we're just dipping our toe in the water, basically saying, hey, there's an opportunity for you to have love, but if you're not careful, you're going to sabotage your new opportunity because you've been hurt by something in your past. And because you've been hurt by something in your past, your pride is standing in between the new love or the new opportunity that's awaiting you. Right? That's really what that is saying. All right, let's see what else the divine wants to say. All right, this card says the Earth Fairy. I think it's the first time I've seen that card come out of this deck. Focus came out in reverse here. I'm going to get one more. Let me take a look and see what this says. This says physical health, grounding, and foundations. I'm also going to go ahead and say that this is earth energy. So this could be an earth sign. It doesn't have to be. I mean, this card is not designed. This card's not really intended to be, like a tarot card. It's not like a page, a knight, or a queen or a king of pentacles, but it is giving off that energy. So I'm going to honor it. Okay. And really, pentacles and earth energy in tarot are anything having to do with the tangible world. It's not just money. A lot of tarot readers will have you believe that pentacles is just referring to money, career and money. That's not true. Pentacle energy in tarot has to do with anything in the tangible world that you can interact with your five senses. Anything. Your body, your phone, your car, going to the, swimming in the ocean, swimming in the pool, your dog, your cat, your children, anything at all in the world that you live in that you can interact with your five senses. That's pentacle energy. Of course, money is a part of that. So there is an emphasis here on, taking care of yourself with physical health, grounding yourself in, making sure that you have the right foundation for the things that you're seeking. Now, the next card that we have out is focus, but it came out in reverse. And what this is telling me is that a lot of you guys are spending too much of your time and energy, which are the two most valuable resources we have, because when today is gone, we're never going to get it back. And when we start tomorrow, when you wake up, you only have so much energy to get you through the day. And then eventually you just run out of energy, and we all get exhausted, we all get tired, and we have to go to sleep to recover that energy. So we have limited time that we don't get back, because when today is gone, we're never getting today back. And we have limited energy. When the energy is gone today, we're not getting that energy back either. So that's why it's the two most valuable resources we don't have. So if we're spending all of our valuable time and energy focused on things that aren't moving in the needle in our life, focused on the small things in life, focusing on crap that really doesn't matter, or we're just, spending time focusing on stuff like that feeds our ego, pride, angerness, bitterness, resentment, whatever's going on in our life, we're distracted. It could be anything. You're just spending too much time watching Netflix, too much time scrolling on our phone, too much time checked out doing other things, mindless, useless things. And then what ends up happening, it's middle of April. You're going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be the 4th of July. And you're going to be like, holy crap, it's already the 4th of July. And then you're going to be like, man, what have I done this year? And it's going to, you're going to get these flashes of like, these waves are going to hit you. Like, time is really flying. Then you're going to go to sleep. You're going to wake up and it's going to be Halloween. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, dude, the year is really flying by. And then it's going to be Christmas again. Then it's going to be New Year's. It's going to be 2026. Right. And the whole year is going to go by, and you're going to be like, what have I done? What's happening in my life? What am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my time? And do you really want to go through just another year the same way you did this year and maybe the last year and all that? Well, you know, I mean, most people aren't going to have that luxury because, again, of everything I said at the beginning of this reading. Because this year is basically going to force everybody to get real about how they've been spending their time and their focus. Because, if everybody thinks they're just going to get through this year without having to face something, then the divine is basically going to smack us or derail us to force us to confront the things in our life that have been keeping us in the same place, in the same state, stuck, all that kind of stuff, right? And obviously, I talked about that at the beginning of the reading, so I'm not going to, rehash it again. All right, so we have Merlin. So this is the magician energy. Alchemy, justice, and balance. And this is the first time that this card has come out for me in this deck as well. So let's talk about those three words really quick. Alchemy, justice, and balance, tied to the magician energy. So what is alchemy? First of all, alchemy is the spiritual art of transforming something that's transforming energy that's in one form into another form, right? I call it, finding the treasure in the pile of shit. So for me, alchemy is transforming the things in our life or repurposing the things in our life that have been, they seem disempowering, they seem painful, they seem miserable, they haven't been working, and they've kept us stuck, whatever those things are in our life. It's transforming those things into something we can actually utilize, something that can actually benefit our lives, something we can apply to our lives that will move the needle in our lives. So we're not being affected by it negatively anymore. So basically, we're turning a negative into a positive, something disempowering into something powerful, something empowering. That's what alchemy is. And so the reason we spend so much time in our ego, in self-preservation and pride and all that, is because something affected us negatively and we have not yet alchemized it and transformed it into something empowering. And that's one of the gifts and the powers that we all have, because we're all the magician. And that's why in the tarot, the magician is technically the first card, the first stop of the major arcana. There's 22 major arcanas. The Fool is the 0 card, and the World is essentially, the 21st card. So the Fool is the beginning of something, the creation, the possibility, the infinite possibility of something to be birthed from. And then the World is the completion of whatever that journey is, right? Well, the Magician is the number 1 card. The Magician is us. The Magician is the physical embodiment of spirit, which is the Fool card. That's why it's the 0, it's spirit. It's just infinite. The divine is infinite. We are spirit. We are the divine. We are the expression of the divine having an experience in this world and having an experience with itself. Meaning, as I have an experience with the people around me, everybody else is the same and is equally the divine as I am. I'm no greater. I'm not a greater piece of the divine than you or anybody else. We're all equal. And so as I interact with other human beings on this planet, I am an expression, an individuated expression of the divine having an experience with itself out in this virtual reality that we're all living in. And so as spirit takes on, as spirit enters our soul enters these avatars, these bodies, we have, the magician. We're in the world and we have the 5 senses and we have the power to function within the 5 senses. Technically, the 5 senses. So that's what the magician is. And so it's up to us to utilize our power to create the reality that we desire. It's up to us to use our power to transform lead into gold, so to speak. And that's what spiritual alchemy is, right? It's using our power to be able to create and to do the things that we need to do. And anytime life or our reality is not what we need it to be, then it's up to us to change it. That's what alchemy is. It's like, hey, you don't like the life that you have? Then you tap into the divine power and the divine resources you have to change the outcome. And if you don't know how to change the outcome, then you're too focused on the external world. Excuse me. You're too focused out here. You're looking outside of yourself for a way instead of getting inside of yourself to find the way, because the way is already there. That's why on the magician card you see the infinity symbol above the magician's head, meaning the divine part of us, the infinite part of us, is all inside. Anything and everything that you need is inside of you. All the answers are there. You'll hear a lot of tarot readers say the magician has all the tools and resources, right? And that's what that means. We have the infinite divine inside of us because we are the infinite divine. We are an expression of that. And so the illusion is that we think the answers are out here, but they're not. They're in here, right? So the next is justice. What is justice? Justice is understanding karma. Justice is understanding cause and effect, which is, again, another principle of the magician. If you were ever in school and, during science class, we were taught how to mix things, right? Like if you take baking soda and peroxide and you mix it together, it has this bubbly volcanic effect. In fact, we used to make those when I was a kid, like in first grade. You'd make these paper mache volcanoes. You'd put a bunch of baking soda down in the volcano, and you squirt a bunch of red food color, red dye in there, and then you pour peroxide in the top of the volcano, and then it would just erupt and it would look like a volcano because of the chemical reaction. That's cause and effect. There's a cause and effect for everything. So as we use our power as the magician, which we are always doing, by the way, there's never not a time during your day or your life that you're not using your power in some way, shape, or form, that we're creating a cause and effect. You take an action, you speak a word, you go somewhere, you do something, or you don't speak a word, you don't take an action, you don't do something. Everything has a cause and effect in life. Justice is just another word for karma, and all karma means is cause and effect. People think karma is just related to bad things. Like, oh, it's a karmic relationship. Oh, they're going to get their karma. Like it's just negative. That's not true. Karma is not just bad, and it's not just negative. There's good karma. You do good, you get good. You do bad, you get bad. That's why it's called justice, because the energy you put out is what you're going to get back. And you don't have to beg the divine to get karma. It's just like gravity. Gravity is here no matter what. You don't have to tell gravity what to do. You don't have to, wonder if that person who hurt you is going to get their karma for hurting you. It's like it's built into the system. If they did bad to you and they don't right their wrong, meaning they don't clear their karma, which is what balance is. That's the next word, balance. Meaning, hey, if your back is hurting or you have sciatic pain or, you're out of alignment, you can't sleep right, and there's pains, what do? You go to the chiropractor. What does the chiropractor do? The chiropractor adjusts your muscles in your back and your spine or whatever muscles to do what? To bring you back into balance, right? That's what balance is. It's just an example. So if we don't bring our energy into balance, the energy of the things that we do, then that energy is going to be balanced somehow, some way, shape, or form. So we have two choices. If I wrong you, if I do something wrong to you, I will have an opportunity to balance that energy by making it right. Taking responsibility for the things that I create as a magician. Okay, I messed up. Let me go make it right. That's alchemy, transforming something that I did wrong into something right. I messed up. I used my energy incorrectly. It had a negative effect. So let me use the same power and the same energy to go turn that negative into a positive. So now I don't have to worry about karma coming at me because I cleared that karma. I cleared that energy myself. But if I don't, if I just do bad things and I don't try to make those things right, then eventually that energy is going to have to be balanced automatically because it's built into the system, just like gravity is built into the system. And so that energy is going to come back on me. That's how karma works. So all of that has to do with this card, right? It's basically saying, what are you creating? If you don't like the life that you're creating, then do something about it because you're the magician. If you're getting bad feedback, you're getting bad karma, then transform it. Take ownership, take responsibility for the things you've done in your life so that karma will stop. And if you want, to free yourself from karma that's attached to other people, then detach by forgiving and releasing and letting go, right? Instead of holding on to it, because as you hold on to energy that's attached to other people because they've done things to you, then in some way, shape, or form, you're indirectly participating in karma that they'll probably get. It doesn't mean you're going to necessarily get the same outcome, but you're still feeling that pain indirectly because you're still holding on to that energy. Doesn't make sense, right? It's like if you have a rattlesnake and you're holding that rattlesnake and that rattlesnake bites you, are you just going to keep holding on to it or are you going to let it go? The same thing with a match, right? If you hold a match that's lit and it burning down, it starts burning your fingers, are you going to let it go? Or you're just going to let it sit there, burn your finger off, right? But that's what a lot of people do. The match is burning you, and instead of letting it go, releasing it so it stops hurting, people hold on to it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? So this is about being awareness, and it's also, again, it's tied to the focus. And it's like we have to become aware of the fact that I can't be distracted and I can't be unconscious in the way that I show up in my life and the way that I'm using my power, because unconscious living is going to guarantee that things are going to happen to me that probably are not, serving me my highest good and probably not getting me where I want to go in my life. Because I have the illusion of the belief that I'm not creating this. I don't have any power. Life is just happening to me. I'm not creating anything. I'm not doing anything. No, yes, you are. Everybody is. Everybody is. Even if you lay in bed and you do nothing. It's like, well, I just lay in bed. I don't do anything. I just scroll on my phone. Okay. Doesn't matter. You're still alive. And as long as you're alive and as long as you're in this body, you're using your magician power for something. And that karma, that energy is going to be used for something. So there's no excuse that none of us has an excuse about that unfortunate reality of life. Okay. And that's why this is saying to get grounded and understand, like, this card here, this Earth Fairy, is just about the tangible world. If the tangible world it does not look like or is not what you want it to be, the reality that you're living in the tangible world is not the one that you desire to be living or experiencing for whatever reason, it's probably because your focus is not where it needs to be. And it's probably because you either, one, you don't understand the power that you're using, or two, you do understand the power you're using and you're just misusing that power. Or three, you're abusing that power. Or four, you're being irresponsible with that power. I mean, it's all same words for the same thing, right? Different words for the same thing. And at the bottom of the deck, I just felt called to look at it. We have the Horse. And this says, accepting help from another and delegating authority. So this is about, this is tied to the pride energy. And this really what this energy is telling me is that some of you have a hard time. You have a hard time getting the help that you need to advance and move the needle in your life. This is what we call the definition of insanity. It's doing the same things and expecting a different result, right? It's like when I started this journey way back in 2014, when my ex-wife left me for my best friend of 17 years, and I was devastated and I was broken, my value system was shit. Complete shit. I had a completely shitty value system. And I had no value for learning, for reading, for understanding myself, understanding the opposite sex. I was just like the typical common, immature, kind of, self-focused. And I didn't think that I was, but I was. I was just immature, self-focused, and focused on just petty materialistic shit that entertained me, that added no value to my life. Whether it was shooting guns, whether it was going fishing, whether it was buying a boat, whether it was playing video games with my friends, whether it was just binge watching TV. It was like just this monotonous, distracted life, going to work every day, coming home and doing the same thing, and and having no real substance in my life, not pouring any value into my life or myself, not trying to get to know myself, not really trying to get to know other people on a deeper level. Just kind of living and existing in the superficial matrix reality, doing the same thing everybody else was doing. But when my world came crashing down, it changed me. Because I was like, man, I don't want to go through that again. So, what do I need to change? How do I need to change? Something awakened inside of me. That's what tower moments do. That's what destruction does. It wakes your ass up. I was like, man, I don't want to go through this again. And so my value system changed. I started reading. I started obsessively reading. I started obsessively learning. And as I got further along in my journey, I realized, hey, that's not enough. I can't, it's better than nothing, but I need like mentorship. I need somebody who's been where I've been, but they're already doing the things. They know way more than I do. I need somebody who can train me. And so I started investing in courses that cost money. Then I went the next level. I got a coach, a life coach, and that costs money, right? And then I realized as I began to change, my value system started to change, the things I wanted changed, my desires changed, my outlook on life changed, everything in my life began to change because I started using my magician energy, my power. I started to awaken to the power that I had so that I could start becoming the thing that I actually incarnated here to become all along. And I decided at that point, it's like, hey, the most important investment that I could ever make in myself is me. And so the most amount of money that I've spent since 2014, so I don't know what, that's not right. What, that's 11? Yeah, 11 years. My math is terrible. So in the last 11 years of being on this journey, I've poured thousands of dollars into my personal development. All that money could have gone to something else. Could have gone to cars, could have gone to toys, could have gone to whatever, vacations and all kinds of things. And I'm not saying that those things are bad, those things are wrong. I'm not saying that, it's you can't or you shouldn't, enjoy life or spend your money to buy things that you enjoy. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that for me, I realized that what I crave the most, what brought me happiness and fulfillment more than anything else, was me learning about the power that I had inside of me that I wasn't using. And the more that I invested in myself, the more that I unlocked those powers, that I unlocked my gifts, the more clarity about my life and my purpose and the meaning of my life that I had. And that's an ongoing work. It never ends. You never arrive like, okay, I know it all. I've learned it all. If anything, the more you learn, the more that you just realize, I don't know shit. And that's what every, wise spiritual person ends up saying. It's like, oh my God, I thought I knew so much, when I just realized the more that I learned, the more that I realized I don't know anything. There's so much more to learn. But that's what makes it fun. That's the beauty of it. When you become obsessed with growth and progress, you start to experience more fulfillment. You start to create more. You get more ideas. You start to experience synchronicities more and serendipity more. And all these divine things begin to happen for you. Possibilities and all kinds of opportunities and doors that just open up for you almost kind of magically. because you're in your spiritual lane. You're on the path at that point. So that's what that's what this horse energy is all about. It's about, yes, it's about accepting help from others, but the energy that's really attached to it more is about not getting caught up in the pride of not being willing to go after seeking out assistance outside of yourself, because you think that you have, I have to do it all by myself. That there's some type of ego or some type of pride or some type of trophy that you're going to get because you think that if you get help from somebody that you didn't, for some reason, that's of less value, or you're a lower person because you had to go out and get assistance, get advice, let someone help you, let someone mentor you, let someone teach you, let someone train you, right? Or you're just, you're too proud because you have insecurity, you're afraid to fail, you're afraid to ask for help. You're afraid that if you let somebody, assist you, that they're going to see, oh my God, but then they'll see that I'm not good enough and I have all these problems. It's like, that's why you need to find somebody who can. That's what a coach is. They're there to see your problems. They're not there to judge you for your problems. They're there to help you see the problems, see your blind spots, say, hey, this is awesome. Let's turn these things, let's turn the art of alchemy, let's turn these parts of you into something powerful. Right? So that's what that energy is all about here. What else does the divine want us to know? As we continue to move through the rest of April. All right, this card says Disruptor. A lot of cards, I'm getting a lot of cards out of these decks that I've never seen before. I feel like there's one more card in here that wants to come out, if it will. Oh, okay, well, we got two. Okay, so the first card we have is Disruptor. And right off the bat, there's two energies that are attached to this. The first is self-image. If you look at this card, you can see how there's this fragmented kind of broken looking face of this woman here. A lot of you guys are struggling. One of the struggles that you have in your life has to do a lot with your self-image and your self-worth. And because you have such a low opinion of yourself, you see yourself as not successful, or I suck, or I'm not good enough, and whatever the things are, and what those with that negative self-talk or those negative self or limiting beliefs are, that's one of the things that has been disrupting your ability to move forward. But again, with the magician energy here, you can transmute that, you can transform that, right? And so if you struggle with that, if you struggle with, and self-worth and self-image can also be wearing a mask, being fake, pretending to be something that you're not, imposter syndrome, acting like you're successful when really inside you don't feel successful. Focusing way too much on the outward appearance so that people like you, or the opposite sex is attracted to you, and all that kind of stuff. Just being too caught up in the superficial and the fake. That's imposter syndrome. So it could be either one. Now, this is also a reminder that the divine, again, is going to disrupt your life. This is just everything that I said back at the beginning of the reading. It's like, hey, pay attention to the things in your life that the divine starts highlighting for you that are keeping you stuck, because if you don't take it serious, then the divine is gonna kind of force you to have to address it by making something happen in your life to where you can't ignore it anymore. That's what this is saying. Like, you're not going to be able to ignore, like, if you're ignoring the feedback that you're getting from life, like, okay, there's this problem, this is what the divine's highlighting, here's the problem, and you're like, sweep it under the rug, ignore it, sweep it under the rug, ignore it. Well, eventually the divine's going to go, okay, I'm going to turn up the volume, I'm going to turn up the heat until you can't ignore it anymore. That's what this is saying. And again, it's not because, it's not to be mean or to be cruel, but it's, again, it's unclogging the pipes. Like, humanity cannot consciously, collectively, we can't just sit and stagnate. Energy has to move. We are all energy. We can't stay in the same mindset, the same mentality, the same delusional states, the same stuck states of consciousness. At some point, there's always going to be a purge. It's the same thing with the seasons. It's not spring forever. It's not summer forever. It's not fall forever. It's not winter forever. The seasons go through a cycle, and it's a cycle of balance. All 4 seasons are necessary. The same thing goes with us. We can't just stagnate in one season of life, one season of consciousness. We have to embrace the change that, we have to go with the changes that are part of human evolution. It's just a part of being here in this world, in this reality, whether we like it or not. All right, the next card that we have is Mastery. There's no problem, there's no issue that you have, that I have, that anybody has that cannot be solved. That's what this card is saying. So if you think you have some unsolvable problem, or I've had this problem for so long, and I've had this issue, or this pattern, or this addiction, or this habit, the divine is saying you're more powerful than that. The divine is saying you're the master. You just believe that these other things in the world have more power than you, but it's not true. It's not true. It's not true. You have all the power, all the tools, all the resources. You're the magician. You can master anything. But again, this is also going back to the horse card that I had at the bottom of the deck about asking people who have mastered things to assistance. Right? You can master any of these issues, and the divine will assist you. Excuse me. And what I said at the beginning of the reading, if you put a little bit of energy towards working on something, the divine will 10x the return on it. That's how generous the divine is. It's like, hey, I just want you to just try. That's it. All you got to do is just try. Doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect. Doesn't mean that you're going to overcome it overnight. It just means that, hey, just start working out on it. Start chipping away at it. And as you put energy and effort into it, the divine is going to assist you by helping you rapidly overcome it. So you're not just going to be left floundering, like if you have a child and you're teaching your kid how to swim, you don't just throw your toddler out into the deep end of the pool. What do you do? With what do most people do? You get the little floaties and you hold the kid, and the kid feels secure because you're holding the child the whole time, but you also have the floaties. Then eventually you just start to let go of the kid, and the kid doesn't realize that you've let go, and it's still floating because the kid still thinks you're holding it. And as the kid gets comfortable with the floaties, it starts to feel safe because it's like, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not drowning. And then the kid starts to have fun, and it's not worried because you're within arm's reach. That's what the divine is doing. The divine isn't going to throw you into the deep end and like, all right, sink or swim, you're fucked. The divine is like, hey, I got you. Just try. That's it. Just try. And if you try, I will help you master whatever it is that you're facing. Which brings us to trust. This is everything that I literally just said in the analogy with the child. This is the divine trust fall. Because if your pride and your ego gets involved, your pride and ego is going to go, yeah, but what if this and what if that and what if the divine doesn't come through and what if this doesn't work out and what if I, what if I can't this and what if I can't that, and all the what ifs and all the fears and all the illusions and all the self doubt and all the shit. The divine is saying, no, I got you. Trust. I got your back. The divine has your back. That's what this is saying. And the divine is also saying you can trust that the things that I'm promising you, for those of you that are willing to take action, I will follow through. So going all the way back here to the beginning, a win-win outcome is forecast. A new romantic cycle is beginning. Well, the divine is saying, hey, these are promises that I make for those of you that are willing to use your magician power. Which is why I said at the beginning of the reading, don't let this just be a predictive reading. You have to align yourself to the energy by doing something with this energy. This reading isn't just going to happen for you. Oh man, that was such a good reading. Well, maybe not. It will be if you use your magician power and if you do what the divine is suggesting. Information alone won't change anything. Watching this reading and then going back and doing the same thing you were doing before and nothing changes, then this reading is useless. None of this is going to happen. But if you start taking steps and you take action, then things will happen for you. That's how that works. And then we have unity. This is basically the divine saying, this is really what this is about. It's about us. It's about the collective needing to have a mass spiritual awakening. We need to come out of the matrix. We need to come out of the externalization of, relying on the external world for our answers, for our needs, looking outside of ourselves for everything. This is about us coming home to ourselves. Unity with the divine inside of us. Unity coming back home to realizing the power within. Unleashing the power within. Awakening the giant. Awakening the magician within. Coming home to the divine. Coming home to ourselves. Coming home to spirit. And as we come home to spirit, in essence, we come home to each other. Collectively. On a conscious level. We all start to align to to new values, which means all the old bullshit values that have been disempowering us and corrupting us and pitting us against each other as human beings, left versus right, political versus that, religion versus religion, all that shit's going to go away. We're going to start thinking the same. We're going to start thinking in terms of having the similar global values. We'll still be different in ways, but our differences won't put us against each other, won't be in competition with each other. There won't be, a need to compete anymore. There won't be the fear of competition and scarcity and all that shit. We'll be unified. And that's what the world needs. All right. So I got this one other deck here and we're getting close to the end here. All right, what else does the collective need to know? Transformation just came out. So yeah, this is basically like the divine summarizing everything that I'm saying here. It's time to embrace transformation. If you want your life to transform, you have to transform. And transformation is going to happen whether we like it or not, because in some way, shape, or form, this year, we're all going to get, again, we're all going to have to confront the thing that's been limiting or preventing our transformation to begin with. So it's just the question of, do we want to go through a difficult transformation because we're resisting the things that we need to do? And so the divine is just going to have to basically start dropping tower moments left and right on people that's like, oh, nah, I'm resisting. Or are you like, hey, I'm not resisting. I'm on board. Let's do it. Let's transform. Let's go with the flow, and not have to go through those tower moments. That's what that's saying. But one way or the other, we're going to be faced with the transformation one way or another, because that's what the whole dynamic of the 9-year energy is all about. And again, especially this 9-year adventure. Yeah. So for some of you, this is about you guys awakening to the fact that, oh my God, there is a life, a journey, and a path that I can go on. The spiritual call on my life, my divine purpose, my divine mission, the call on my life is here. It's calling me. And as a result of finally awakening to the possibility, because you're like, hey, you know what? I'm leaning all the way in. I'm leaning all the way into my magician energy. I'm going to allow the divine to assist me in mastering whatever it is that I need to master. I'm leaning into the transformation. I'm trusting the divine. Then you're going to awaken to your purpose in life. You're going to awaken to the path that you were meant to go on. And the divine is going to assist you, and that's going to be it. And once you get a taste, once you see clearly, and you know, like, oh my God, this is why I incarnated. This is why I came to this plane of existence. There's nothing else that you'll desire more than to start to pursue that path. And I can say that from just my own experience. And I'm just stepping my foot into the shallow end. There's so much more ahead for me, just like there is for you. And everything that you ever want is on this path. The money you want is on this path. The soulmate, the partner, the lover, the house, the car, the kids, whatever it is that you want is on your path. It's waiting for you out there. It's already out there waiting for you. Just like that game Pac-Man. Everybody knows Pac-Man. When you start the game of Pac-Man, all the little dots are on the map. And what do? You control Pac-Man. You just drive Pac-Man and he eats the dots. He's just going around collecting, eating the little dots. That's what you are. You're Pac-Man. Everything you want is represented by the dots. You just go on the path and everything was already there waiting for you. That's how this works. And it's fun because that's what an adventure is. An adventure isn't like a shit show, right? It's fun. This is when life gets exciting. The spiritual journey is exciting. It's meant to be exciting. We don't just incarnate here to suffer and go through hell and shit. I mean, we choose that with our free will, but that's not why we came here. It's just a choice. So if your life sucks and you hate it and it's miserable or you're tired of it, it's boring, it's not fun, it's repetitive, it's mundane, it's monotonous, it's not because you don't have an option. It's not because you can't have a better life or different or more. It's just that you limited yourself to believing that this is all you can have. Now, the card of action. Action is required. Which is, again, everything that I said. I said, if you just watch this reading and you don't do anything, then you can forget it. Nothing's gonna change. Nothing's gonna happen for you. Now, what's interesting about the artwork is for those of you that are willing to pick up the bow, you're willing to pull the arrow back, and you're willing to fire and shoot the arrow. Metaphorically speaking, you can expect things to start happening rather quickly for you. And guess who controls the velocity of the arrow? You do. If you want the arrow just, don't put a whole lot of effort. Just the arrow doesn't go like a couple inches, you shoot, bloop. But if you want to shoot the arrow full speed ahead, you would put max effort. You would pull that arrow back as hard as you could. And you would aim it and you would fire and you'd let it go. And once the arrow shoots out of the bow, it's out of your hands. That's the cool part. Things are in motion. You've done your part. Now the divine is taking control. The divine is the one who is in control at that point. You've done your part. Then the divine steps in and does its part. And that's when you get the 10x on the return of the effort of you participating in firing the arrow or participating in going on the adventure or all the other things we've talked about. And look, you cannot make this shit up. Fulfillment. This is how you get to your fulfillment. This is what you've been waiting for, and this is why the divine is doing what it's doing. Again, it's not because the divine is this mean, this deity, this force, this God or whatever, that's just be up, up in the clouds or occupying the universe, space or something. That's like, I've got nothing better to do than to screw with all of you guys and make your life hell and miserable. That's not what's happening at all. It's really the fact that we've just become so used to the mundane, apathetic, boring, monotonous, stuck life that we've all been living in the matrix, that the divine's like, hey, you guys have gotten so used to your own discomfort. You've been used to your own patterns, used to your own misery, used to your own suffering, used to your own powerlessness, used to just settling. This stale, stuck, stagnant energy that the world has become, that it's shaking us up to wake us up. It's like, oh my God. Like, yeah, you guys are meant for way more. All of you, the whole collective, you're meant for so much more than you realize, than you're tapping into. And so fulfillment is waiting for those of you that are willing to do the things that we've been talking about here. But it's going to take action. Passion. This is passion in everything, right? Look at this little kid looking at the fireworks. There's an experiencing passion as part of fulfillment. And the energy coming off this card is about your soul lighting up. Waking up every day, dancing out of bed, waking up every day, feeling like your soul is on fire with energy, with passion and motivation, excited about what the day holds for you, excited about what's ahead for you, excited about the opportunities, excited about what you can create, who you can help. Excited about the adventure that you get to go on. Excited about the places you'll go, the things you'll see, the people you'll meet, the things you'll do, the things you'll create. Excited about the opportunities that you'll have, potentially, for those of you looking for love, with the love of your life. What you'll get to do, the memories you'll make, the love that you'll make. That's what it is. It's that energy of passion. It's not just a brief moment of fulfillment, like where most people, we might experience a truly passionate moment, like once or twice a year, a quick hit, a little blip where it's like, oh man, that was so empowering. It was so fun. That was so fulfilling. These little hits that we get like once or twice a year. This is about not having it once or twice a year. This is about living it. It's like, it's unfathomable for most people. Like, it's unfathomable to think, wait, I can have this like all the time? Like, yeah. The divine's saying it's possible. But you have to go for it. This isn't going to be handed to any one of us, myself included. We have to contend for it. And to balance out passion, then there's peace. And so on the one side of the coin, we have the passion, the motivation, the inspiration that, oh yeah, this is so good, it's so fun, it's so exciting. I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to live. I can't wait to go out and do the things. But on the flip side, this is the freedom of anxiety. The freedom from the craziness, the stress, the anxiety, the worries, the doubts, the insecurities, the fears, the what ifs. Not having to take, you know, bajillions of pills to just regulate your mind, not having to check out, to distract yourself because I just need to stop thinking. I need to stop thinking my brain, my brain, my brain, my mind, my ego, my brain, my mind, my ego. This is just being able to have peace in your life. Like actually just experiencing peace. Like, man, I'm not stressed. I ain't worried about scarcity and loss or, you know, this happening or that happening and what's going to happen in the world, or, you know, if it's relationships, am I going to get hurt? Am I going to get, you know, abandoned? Am I going to get cheated on? Or if it's work, you know, am I going to have enough money in my bank account? And am I going to be in debt forever? And am I going to live from paycheck to paycheck forever? Am I ever going to be able to have a house, or ever going to be able to get out from underneath these, you know, the debt? Or am I ever going to be able to have a, you know, a nice car or just my own house? Whatever the things are, you know, in my opinion, peace might be one of the greatest forms of prosperity that's highly underrated. You know, we think in our materialistic world, it's about hustle culture. Get, acquire, get, acquire, more, more, more. And in the pursuit of trying to obtain all these things, we're completely unaware of just how stressful that life is. How stressful it is to try to keep up with materialism and the more and all of that. And then it's like living beyond our means. And the minute that you get a break, either something breaks or we foolishly go and, you know, we maximize on the thing that, you know, the gift that we've gotten or the blessing that we've gotten, and we put ourselves right back into, you know, the same type of situation. And so we live in a habituated state of insanity and misery and anxiety and stress as we become so used to it, we don't know what it's like to not have it. And then we have to do all these things to medicate ourselves so that we can have fake peace. Not lasting peace, not natural peace, but fake peace. You got to drink a shit ton of alcohol, you got to smoke weed, or you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to check out. And I'm not judging, you know, I'm not judging people that do those things. I mean, God forbid. I mean, hey, you know, I mean, if at some point, if you're going to be that stressed out, it's like, what are my options? I either drink or I go crazy, or I lose my mind, or, you know, I go postal. I get it. But how unfortunate is it that we're the ones who put ourselves in that position to begin with? Because again, it's all a choice, and all goes back to the magician card. What if we didn't have to live that way? What if there were other options? What if we could have natural peace, better sleep, just peace in life? Like I'm happy, fulfilled. I'm at peace. I need nothing because my life is so fun. It's so adventurous. It's so fulfilled. It's so filled with passion. Sounds like a hell of a good life to me. All right, so to close out the reading, I'm going to get a few surrender cards. Just as kind of a final, if I've missed anything. All right, the card that just came out, you can't make that up. Everything I was just saying, surrendering your belief in scarcity. The universe is asking you to open the infinite nature of abundance. In this way, you can remove blocks in your life and succeed beyond your wildest dreams. And look at this guy. What does it look like he's doing that looks like what they're doing? Can't make this up. Surrender to what? Surrender to trust. Trusting the divine. Trusting that if you do what the divine is saying to do in this reading and you participate, and you take action and you don't just observe and listen to the reading and I'm going to go forget about it and just go back and do the same thing that I was doing. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. I'm not going to do that anymore. This is divine trust. Where did we see this, by the way? Oh, right there. Double confirmation. Can't make that up. Trust yourself and your decisions. Don't be swayed by other people's strong opinions about what to do. Yes, stop living under the pressure and the expectations of the matrix and the culture and what people think and what the way that you're supposed to do it and the way that the world tells you to do it and all the other shit. Be bold, be courageous. The other people aren't going to suffer your misery because you failed to live your life. In other words, when you're not living your life and you're watching your life pass you by and you're not taking chances, you're not taking risks, you're not living at the fullness of your potential, you're holding back, you're holding yourself back, you're shying away because you're afraid of what people think, what they're going to say, how they're going to respond, how they're going to act. Well, I shouldn't, or maybe all that. Those people aren't experiencing your suffering and your misery, your lack of fulfillment. Those people are going on with their lives. They're not the ones who are feeling that dissatisfaction. They're not the ones over there taking the hit for your missed opportunities. It's insanity. Don't let other people screw you out of the life that you came here to live, right? And then lastly, what does it say? Take action. Where did we see that? Right there. This card right here, the bow and arrow. Take action. Where did we see that? Be the magician with the Merlin card. Take action and be confident that you have chosen the right path. How will you know that you've chosen the right path? Because everything that I said, when the divine starts to highlight the things in your life that need to be changed so that you can successfully navigate the transformation, pay attention to them. And then all you have to do is just start putting effort, any amount of effort, into making that change. And the divine will 10x the effort that you put into it by assisting you. You'll get 10x the assistance from the divine. The divine will show you what to do. The divine will provide you the resources. The divine will assist you so much as you're willing to keep taking action. You're willing to trust and keep moving forward and just trust the process. That's how the divine works. The divine isn't here, again, the baby analogy. The divine isn't just going to throw us all into the deep end of the pool and say, hey, F you, sink or swim. No, if the divine is going to, if the divine is basically going to collectively say, hey, there's an opportunity for greatness here, and I'm going to basically kind of force you all to confront something. The divine's going to provide us with the tools, the resources, everything we need to be successful at it. The divine isn't going to ask us to do something without providing the necessary means to do it. But again, I have to remind us, with that being said, the divine only has two non-negotiables. It's not going to violate our free will, and it's not going to give us anything that's not in our highest good. So we have free will. We can participate or we cannot participate. And so if we are willing to participate, then the divine's like, cool, that's it. I just needed your participation. Even better, if you want the same thing that I want for you, which are the things that are in your highest good, which are the things that are on this adventure, your spirit's journey, your soul's path. Because again, what are you going to get? You're going to get fulfillment. You're going to get passion. You're going to get peace. You're going to get all the things that you've been waiting for. You've been really wanting. You just don't have a blueprint for it. You don't have an experience. You don't have something to relate to understand just how bad you really want it. You have no comparison for it. No contrast. I haven't had that experience yet. And until you get a taste of it, you don't really know what you're missing out on. That's what the divine's wanting you to do. The divine's inviting you into an opportunity to, at the very least, get a taste of something. So you go, oh my God. So this is how good this can be? It's like, yeah, but this is just the taste. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more. All right, one more surrender card, then we're going to close the reading. Surrender outdated beliefs about yourself. Disruptor card, self-image, everything that I said right here. And for many of you, this is the number one thing that's attached to your pride and your ego that's preventing you from moving forward in your mastery, preventing you from stepping into your power. It's got your focus all fucked up, and it has you out of balance and you're not grounded. And it's affecting your ability to trust the divine. So this is very, very powerful. This energy is coming out very powerfully in this reading for all of us collectively, because the divine just highlighted it again. Scarcity was highlighted at the end, trust was highlighted at the end, and outdated beliefs about ourselves. Let go of limiting ideas about yourself that originate from the past. Then you can own your power, the magician, and soar in your life. And at the very bottom of the deck, surrender to spirit. So just one more, because I just peeked at the bottom of the deck. And basically, this is essentially the same thing as saying surrender to trust. This is the card saying, hey, I'm not going to throw you in the deep end of the pool. Once you've done everything you can to achieve a goal, turn the situation over to the divine. Let spirit work its magic for you. It's the analogy that I gave about the action card. Once you fire the arrow, it's in the divine's hand. It's everything that I said about all you have to do is put a little bit of effort in, and the divine will 10x your effort. Once you've done everything you can do, the divine's like, hey, I got you. I see it. I'm not expecting you to pull a rabbit out of your hat. I'm not expecting you to do something that you've never done before. I'm not expecting you to be 10 levels ahead of where you are right now. The divine's just saying, hey, just do the next thing that you know to do, that you sense to do, that you feel to do. And don't overthink it. Don't worry about if it's right or wrong. Just do something. Just be willing to do something different. Just be willing to do anything that has to do with transformation. And the divine has got the rest for you. The divine will take care of the rest. That's the beauty of this. So I hope that this reading resonates, but again, I hope that it doesn't just resonate. If this reading does resonate, if this sounds, if you've made it this far, if you listen to the entirety of this reading, and you feel a movement in your spirit and your soul, you know that like, I know that this is what I needed to hear. I know this is true. I know that this is for me. Whatever that sensation feels like for you, don't sit on it. Don't let this just be information that passed through your ears and then you just get distracted again, which is the focus in reverse, the distractions. And then, it's 4th of July. And then it's Halloween. And then, oh my God, the whole year's gone by and nothing's changed. And during this time, maybe my life has been taking hits because I forgot. Oh crap. I was supposed to be, participating in my transformation. And because I got distracted, the divine was showing me, hey, we need to work on this. We need to work on this. And I really don't want to have to force you to go into something difficult or painful because you're not seeing it. That could happen to any one of us. So it's very important to not resist the process of transformation that we're all going to face this year specifically. So, yes, I hope that this resonates, but I hope that it doesn't just resonate. I hope that something about this reading inspires you all to be consciously aware of what's going on in your life, and to begin to just make the smallest steps in changing it. And if you're unsure, here's the cool part, guys. If you're not sure what the next step is, if you're completely lost, you're completely confused, and maybe, maybe you've just been in the rat race for so long, you're like, man, I know I'm disconnected. I know I've been in my ego and my mind for too long. I can't hear the divine. I can't hear my intuition. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what people like me are out here for, people like you, so that we can work with you to get you spiritually open, to get you connected to the divine, and we can get you answers. Book a personal private reading. And you can get very, very, very detailed, specific, accurate messages from the divine that are specific to you, your situation, your life, the things that are going to be happening and are happening for you, and the what to do. What do I need to do? How do I do it? Right? And that goes back to the horse card, right, that we had. I should have just left it on the table. This. I put it right down here. I know it doesn't matter now. We're at the end of the reading, but this card, remember? Be willing to ask for help. Be willing to get the assistance you need. Be willing to invest in whatever it is. If you need to read, if you need a coach, if you need to buy a course, whatever it is. The belief, the belief in scarcity thing is what this is talking about. Well, I can't afford it. I can't do this. I can't do that. No, that's a belief in scarcity. You can do it. When my ex-wife left me, I didn't have the money, but how did I get the money? Once I made a decision that I was going to change my life, once I made a decision that this is the resource that I need, I found a way. And when I was serious about it, the divine actually provided me things, oftentimes, that just kind of came out of nowhere. It's like, I got money, extra money somewhere, or I sold something and I got, 2 or 3 times more than I asked for it. Or I got a huge, massive tax return that I didn't think I was going to get. Or some other kind of random resource came through, or somebody, gave me something. It doesn't always have to just be about money. It's like somebody offered me something. Somebody gave me something. Someone's like, hey, I'm going to, give this to you for free, whatever. You have to let go of it has to just be one thing, one way. Let the divine provide it for you. But you have to be willing to, you have to have a value for it. You have to be willing to want it. Whatever it is. You can't just be like, okay, well, I don't want to read. It's like, okay, well, then you just completely shut the door on all kinds of resources that could have come your way to give you the answers that you need. It's like, well, I don't want to pay for, I don't want to pay for a reading because then, and you're like going to the Starbucks line, 5-6 days a week, which basically would have cost, that you could have bought like 3 readings for that price at the amount that Starbucks charges now or whatever. And I'm not here to guilt trip you or anything. And I don't care if you get a reading from me. It's not about that. I'm not getting wealthy off of private readings, by the way. I'm just saying, if you have a belief in scarcity, then you have a value system problem and your life isn't going to transform, because it's your belief in scarcity that actually makes you utilize your resources for things that don't return there's no return on an investment when you're in scarcity. You're pissing your money away, you're pissing your time away, you're pissing your energy away, and it's all going to some shit that's probably there just to medicate and distract you. Or like we said over here, it's fake peace. You're giving yourself these little tiny hits of whatever it is. Well, my Starbucks, my little hit. I have to have my Netflix show. I have to have my McDonald's or my whatever. I have to have my whatever. It's like, okay, that's a choice. But like we said with the karma and the justice energy up here, just know that everything's cause and effect. It's a choice. You have free will. The divine's not going to violate your free will. That's a non-negotiable. I'm not going to violate your free will. Nobody else is going to violate your free will. But, Nothing's going to change till you change it. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And this year, you're probably going to get your ass thrown down the stairs by the divine at some point, because the divine's probably going to call you out, and that energy is going to catch up with you at some point where it's like, hey, this got to change, it's got to change, got to change. You're not paying attention. Or turn the heat up. It's going to get harder until who knows what will happen. And again, I'm not saying that to be doomsday. I'm not saying that to be apocalyptic or scary or any of that. I'm just here to be the messenger and tell the truth. So with that being said, for those of you, that you do need the assistance. If you need the assistance, you need the specific guidance, the personalized guidance, the personalized assistance. That's what people out here, find somebody. If it's not me, find somebody you trust. Find somebody you trust who can give you answers, actionable answers, not just useless information, right? Someone who can tell you, okay, this is what the divine wants you to look at. This is what the divine wants you to change. This is the divine's telling you what you can do about it. Here's your purpose in life. Here's the path you can get on. This is what you can expect. Like all that information can be found, infinite questions can be answered just about. For those who are hungry and you're seeking the right questions, you're coming from the right attitude. And that's why I'm out here. That's literally why I'm out here. I'm out here to give that information to those who are hungry for it, so that you can align your life. You can transform. You can experience everything that's here. Okay? That's just if you need it. And if you don't need it, that's great. That's awesome. But either way, don't let this reading pass through your ears without making a decision about what to do. Okay? So if you have any questions, or reach out. My email, my information, my contact information is in the description box. We can have a conversation. You don't have to, I'm not here to just, take your money or whatever. Like, you can reach out to me. We'll have a conversation about things. I'm here for you guys. I'm here to be a resource. And if you use the resource, it's up to you. Or don't use the resource. But I'm making myself available to you all that need it. Okay? And I'll absolutely do what I can, because that's why I'm here. That's part of my mission. So hopefully this will benefit somebody out there. And I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And hopefully I'll be back soon. And also come join me for a free live tarot reading sometime if you haven't. And I will... Is that it? Is that everything? I think that's everything. Okay. So I appreciate you guys. And as always, love and light. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. All the other information is in the description box below. And as always, my friends,
I'm not a bloody psychic.